Yay! Finally, this thing. First, it was a delay because I was on site photographing stuff, and then it just refused to load, and yeah, fun times. Great. Ah. Good point. Yeah. Also, thank you for the 27 months honeycomb. That is wow. Just wow. It's really appreciated. It, it sort of it, it sort of went well. Like I have shots that I can use, um, but because like it, if you're going to like a landfill or a dump or something, it's city property, so technically it's like it's private property. So I went and checked with like the office before I went in there and stuff, and it was essentially a matter of like needing proper clearance in order to do a shoot, and no one's gotten back to me yet. But there were a few oil derricks um, on just like on the corner of one of the streets and stuff. So I got a few photos of those and like trash and whatnot around the area. So not exactly the thing that I was going for, but like I think it'll work, and it's a class project, so it should be fine. It should be fine anyway. So there's that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fun things. I have an acorn friend. Very squishy. Is it related to the dissociation theme? Like how people are dissociated from how trash is dealt with? I mean, it wasn't gonna be, but that is an idea. For that one, it's yeah. According to his tag, his name's Mac, and he likes to look at fabric samples and make things. Like seriously, some of the character designs that Squishmallows has come up with is pretty great. He's a little acorn friend. Yeah. So for that, it's kind of a matter of like take one photo and turn it into a poster sort of thing with like some kind of text, whether it's a quote or a call to action or something along those lines on there. So yeah, haven't quite figured out the text, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, there's that. Yeah. So, of course, there we go. But can you hear me? Okay. Just because right now I've got the mic clipped to the end of the little whiteboard over here, so hopefully it works. Glad you got photos you can use. Yeah. It and when I went in there, they said to call the I forget the title, but the person in charge essentially, and there might be a future thing depending on how that pans out. But for right now, we're good. It is what it is. Yeah. Oh, also, we have Shark Friend. That one's probably going to be made into a pattern. So. Alright. So before we, like, dive into the chapter by chapter and stuff, now, do you have any, like, general whatever's about the first three in this, or no? No. One of our favorite bits is the small serenity. Yeah, that was a good bit. And it's like, we don't know at this point exactly what he did, but if the salamander usually just kind of lives in the garden by making himself look like um, random toys or something, or like a lawn ornament, yeah, lawn ornaments, it wasn't too clear as to whether or not him turning into a stone salamander at the end of that was because he's just turning back into a lawn ornament, or that in giving up, like in giving the small serenity to Beauty, that was like transferring the rest of his life force to her, so now he is a stone salamander. Because it felt like it sounded like he was handing over like the essence of salamanderness with like the fire and stuff. But then also that just seemed to be a thing that they did, so I don't know. I always thought he was just turning back into a lawn ornament. Okay. Like I forgot that he masked himself as being a lawn ornament until I was talking about it just now. So yeah. There's that. So he's probably fine, and we'll just go with that. But yeah, it is interesting though, because like there's so many. Just going back to the start of this, right? There's so many plants that are recognizable by the general populace only when it's in like a certain state of life, whether it's like the flower visually or the flower with scent, like in this case, or like the leaves or whatever. You want him to be fine, therefore he is. Exactly. I'll go with that. Because, like, otherwise, dude. We're a chapter and a half in, can you not? um. Hmm. Yeah. So, there's so many plants that are generally recognizable only in one or two states of life, or based on like one or two attributes, whether it's the leaves and berries or like the flowers or whatever. But it's interesting that in this, Beauty starts hanging out in the garden, not from any interesting gardening exactly, but like her mom's perfume, or what she thinks is her mom's perfume, I guess, smells like some kind of flowery type thing, and she's trying to figure out what it is because, from the sounds of it, she's only really interacted with her mom like a handful of times. If she was 5 when her mom died in an accident trying to win a bet, and from the sounds of it, she was what, 2 maybe, like 1.5, 2, something like that, when the dream started, and thought that her mom had come and comforted her, and that was it. Like, from what we get in the text, it seems like that's the last time that like Beauty really had any interaction with her mom, aside from maybe like stilted formal family dinners or something. But just that as an idea is mind-boggling to me. I know that's a thing that happens, that still happens sometimes, depending on family dynamics and whatever. But um, But yeah, and so Beauty's trying to figure out what kind of a scent her mom's wearing, and Pansy? Yeah. Yeah, it's not until she's probably like 3.5, 4, something like that, that Pansy comes by as the current nurse hanging out with the 3 kids, and as she's being fired, as she's leaving, um, well, as she's being fired because she was seen by the kid's mom, from the sounds of it, which is a whole other thing. Uh, she tells Beauty that um, the scent is rose. Mom was too busy being a glam socialite. Nurses existed to take care of the kids. Exactly. Exactly. And it's like, yeah. Which is interesting as a thing, because you have the socialite obnoxiousness happening, and like comparatively, Beauty is this really laid back person who is just there doing the same things that the servants are doing. But compared to everyone else, like she's just a normal person. And then they're all like they have to leave because the family's essentially run out of town because the dad can't pay like contractors and stuff. And the guys that Beauty's sisters, Lionheart and Joltug, there we go, were affianced to, broke off the engagement when it came to light that they were now poor. Um, and they have to flee and just kind of become normal people with jobs and like actual social skills and stuff. Beauty's superpower is kindness. Exactly. Exactly. She's nice to everybody in it. Like there's a passage in there, I can't remember which chapter it's in, but there's a passage in there where the sisters find out that Beauty's been having nightmares since forever, and it's just like, if I didn't love you so much, I think I would probably hate you because you're just so nice, and it's annoying and weird and stuff, but like, I can't do that, so we're just gonna try and protect you instead. So, yeah. Alright. Honesty, at least. Um, but yeah, she's. Magic has been banned in the house, and from the sounds of it, because their dad was the most affluent um, merchant in the city, magic was seemingly banned in the city itself. And from the sounds of it, from the sounds of it, used whatever special mojo he had to run magic users out of the city. and thus wasn't doing too great afterwards. I know that I end up like circling back to Merlin for a lot of things and stuff, but the dynamic, right, with everything, it's and I know it's not just from that story, but the whole mom dies and there's potential magical influence and magic didn't save her even though she was like doing stuff and the magic stuff is there because because the dad of the family hired a bunch of people, um and now because mom's dead, like chucks everyone out of the house, and there's the kid or kids there who are not allowed to have anything to do with magic anymore. It just kind of reads as like Uther and Arthur, kind of a little bit, little bit. But then in every iteration of Arthur, aside from like Sword in the Stone, Arthur was kind of a spoiled pain in the butt. Um, in most of the things that I've seen. So it has holes, but like also slight association things there. I don't know. Interesting, interesting bits. Um, Also in this universe, roses tend to only grow. Let me just stop messing with Bob Foo's armor. I'm gonna mess with the stuffing too much. Alright. Where's. I had the fidget cube right here. Where did it go? There we go. Okay. Because, yeah, apparently I need this guy, otherwise, this dude is not gonna have stuffing in an arm in like 20 minutes. So, yeah. If when the mic picks up clicky noises, apologies in advance. I'm gonna try and do just the spinny one, but there we go. Fun fact: camellias symbolize beauty, not roses. Oh yeah, that is true. That is true. But yeah, it's interesting. Like with the sorcery is necessary to grow roses. Like it's associated with love, and it's somewhere in chapter 3, towards the end, I think, where Beauty's talking to one of the townspeople in um the what's it called? I didn't write down the name, so I can't remember. Long shot? Like I will give the author credit for very descriptive names. Like you get the vibe of who the person is and what they do and their association with the rest of the town and how the town kind of functions in and of itself, um, based on the name very easily. So it's like it kind of puts the characters and the locations into an archetype setting at that point, because it's not like a name uh that is also associated with X. It's a descriptor of the personality and the nature of the beings in said place. Long chance. There we go. Yeah. Oh, the only other thing coming to mind was Longshanks, and I know that is not it. That's something else, but I can't remember what it is right now. We like the explanation for why roses need magic to grow and how they grew thorns when it became only magic that could make them grow. Yeah. Yeah, like, only magic can make them grow because they're so associated with love that there's not what was it? There's not enough love left in the world, so therefore they had to resort to depending on magic. As a concept, like that, just in and of itself, is fascinating. Um, and be interesting to see if there's like a base lore that has something to do with that somewhere.
Wednesday night, I thought you had class.
Okay. Longshanks was a nickname for one of England's kings. I think, yeah. That's what it was. And I think he might have been mentioned in one of the other books. So yeah. What? What's with the emojis? Yeah. So anyway, that was mom popping in to tell me that it's Wednesday and I have class. So yeah. Yes, I did check it. Even while remembering that I had class yesterday, so fun times. Anyway, um yeah. Moving on. Just entertaining ourselves with the mic was off. Just making sure. uh, yeah. But yeah, so like, we've got Lionheart that's all, like, brave and, keeps getting herself into random scrapes and stuff. Um, rides horses. When they get to the new town, when they get to Longchance, she cuts her hair and goes to work with the horses and passes herself off as like the brother. They were planted. I'll just let them grow. Whatever. Cut forward a few months, and there's roses. Oh look, haha. There we go. Okay, so we're back. It is live. We don't like Lionheart at the very beginning because it sounds like she ends up abusing animals. Glad she mellows enough to stop doing that. Yeah. Yeah, the transition from being an entitled person who just does whatever. Last thing we heard before it cut off was about Lionheart's hair. Okay. So, yeah, Lionheart cuts her hair and disguises herself as a dude to go work with the horses. And is a pretty epic cook after a few false starts and stuff. Joltung is like can essentially talk herself out of whatever kind of a situation, and is an amazing seamstress. And then Beauty's over here doing her gardening thing, and they just like there's random thorny vines that pop up all around the house, and they can't figure out what the plant is or why it's there, which in context of a reality where roses depend on the presence of magic to grow, that totally makes sense. Outside of that bit of world building, not so much. But like just because the rest of the description has kind of a it feels like it has a European sort of vibe to it, and roses, like, maybe not the intensely multi-petaled ones, but roses of some description just grow in the ditch by the roadside. So, but if we're going on the assumption that it's the magic system and it's part of the magic system and universe, I can work with that. That just at this point, just give me an explanation for why it's a thing, and we're good. So, yeah. Um, we didn't like, or we don't like Lionheart at the very beginning because it sounds like she ends up abusing animals. Glad she mellows enough to stop doing that. Yeah. It, just the transformation, like, all of them have a massive transformation from being an entitled, like, a-hole that you really don't particularly want to interact with to, like, actually being a human who is decent and, like, chill, you know? Dad, Lionheart, and Joltung have to transition from entitled to decent people. Mirrors the beast has to do in a way, also facilitated by beauty. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it is interesting that she's had the same dream, more or less, since she was a kid. Like, literally forever. And from what we know of the lore being revamped and stuff, and the illusion that there's a monster at the end of a dark hallway and whatever, it's likely that the beast, however the beast is presented in this, is the being at the end of the hallway. And there's a kind of an interesting slash kind of odd thing that happens in stories sometimes where it's like it's very visible markers of there's this interaction that prepared the person for this interaction, and like these three things prepared them for this interaction, and there's that can be traced directly to this. And it feels like having that base, like, fear slash awareness of a potential monster lurking in the shadows that's always been there, and also just being a pretty decent person and like bringing everyone else around her onto the bandwagon of being a genuinely kind of decent person is like the run up to that, probably not end interaction, but like the climax of the story, I suppose, for when the beast character is introduced. Um, yeah, I don't know. It is also interesting that it hasn't been stated outright, but there's at least not yet, I don't think. Steve, I appreciate that you are on and you're trying to work, but like, no. Um, yeah, when I first turned the computer on, the internet was not functional, so additional fun times for why stream was delayed today. Super great. But anyway, it wasn't stated outright, but the heavy implication is that uh, the sister's mom lived in Longchance and was adopted by the Green Witch who lived in the cottage that they are now in. They lived in Rose Cottage. And the Green Witch always smelled of roses year round. And they remembered that their mom always smelled of roses. So is that a holdover from some kind of magic or association of magic with the Green Witch / her adoptive mother? Or was she actually wearing some kind of rose-scented perfume? Questions. McKinley does telegraph what's coming, but in this case we don't mind. Yeah, like there's certain times where it totally works, and there's certain times like, well, eh. But yeah, it builds some of the not suspense exactly, but it it adds to the picture enough that it doesn't kind of take it away exactly, you know. Well guessed on the set. Yeah. uh what was that saying? Yeah. And from the sounds of it, uh the sister's mom died when Beauty was 5. And there was a Green Witch that showed up and was trying to get their dad to give her a healing charm type thing because she was trying to figure out where her mom was. And based on the context clues and all of that, and the fact that there was it would have been, when I was listening to it, it sounded like it was she was 5, and then there was a document dated 7 years later, but that doesn't really add up. So, from when she was 7, maybe. Handing over the deed to Rose Cottage to the family in the will of the previous inhabitant. We had our glasses off, so we thought you were wearing some fab new shirt with a stylized barn owl on the left. I mean, that is cool. That, like, that would be cool as a thing. I can see it. I can totally see it. Yeah, so there's in addition to the heavy implication that their mom was pretty sure there are two different green witches, maybe, maybe. Uh, but possibly, possibly maybe, the adoptive grandmother went to her adoptive daughter's funeral, saw one of the kids was having a time of it, and was trying to get her to feel better. So, it might well be two different people. I don't know. But maybe, maybe. Yeah. So, there's that. Oh yeah, and there's also the bit in there, where the nightmares came back once they arrived at Longchance, and Beauty's trying to figure out, like, trying to anchor herself in reality, and would, like, analyze the wood grain on the door to, like, okay, there's this heavy detail, so this is real. So the dream is very obviously not this, so that's not real. It's just in my head. But then would be back in the dream and would be analyzing the wallpaper, and you get this kind of unease where she's trying to keep straight what is actually, like, her physical reality that she's in and what is the dream. Because the dream's real freaky, but since coming to Longchance, it's felt as real as being in the physical world. Which has a little bit of foreshadowing in it. A little bit there, maybe. Maybe possibly. Um I do also find it kind of hilarious that for the intervening like 15 years since the previous Green Witch disappeared, the the townsfolk have like been wanting roses and haven't had access to roses because there's no one there to grow the roses because you need a green witch to grow the roses, and the green witch that was there um isn't there anymore, and they couldn't figure out how to do the thing, so all of a sudden the roses are back and they're all ecstatic. So yeah. And there's a bit in there where it's like, no, I'm not a green witch. I'm not, like, I'm just growing the roses. Like, they're just there. Like, well, maybe you should talk to your roses about, learning some charms and stuff. They might help you. That might be a thing that you want to do. It's like, well, I mean, you say that you don't have the thing, but you're doing the one thing that only people with the thing can do, so you might wanna figure that out a little bit. Just a hint. Like, okay. And that's where we end the chapter. Just a few heaps of foreshadowing, right? Right. It's like there's just someone over here with a pitchfork just shoveling everything in. But when she was a kid, any twins she twigs. But when she was a kid, any twigs she planted grew if they were left alone, not that she herself noticed. Yeah. Which is interesting that the old gardener that she befriended when she was a kid was just like everyone just saw him as like this old random guy that was just there and kind of senile probably, so it's fine. We'll just let him do his thing. It's great. And he saw the twigs growing and just like, alright, this is a thing that's happening. Cool, yay. I will teach this child about plants. Like, alright. Compared to if any number of other people in that house had been the ones, like, witnessing stuff, it would have gone so sideways, potentially. But, yeah. It's like, oh, hello, child who does plant things. Greetings! I also do the plant things. Let us discuss. Alright. That was cool. But yeah, it is interesting that she seemingly never noticed that the twigs that she planted grew into live plants. Which I realize that object permanence and stuff is sometimes like not the best at certain ages and whatnot. And what have you, but interesting. Very interesting. It'd also be interesting if in exploring having like potential green witch abilities with the roses kind of brings back any awareness of the whole like plant a stick and it becomes a tree kind of a situation, you know? Thought you would like mini gardener beauty. Yeah, it's adorable. Like seriously, I didn't plant things, but I was totally the one landscaping the backyard with a fork and a spoon or something, just cause like it's small trowel tools and stuff, you know? And yeah, dog was digging up holes and stuff and like, alright, we'll put a dam over here and there's a river over here and we'll connect these three lakes over here and then just fill it with the hose and it's great. And then oh look, there's grass that's growing up here and like there's some clover over there, so we've moved that over here and yeah. Exactly. Like having that kind of a interest is fascinating at any age, but like if it's a thing that's like you're trying to actively make the environment that you're in better. It's just it's good vibes. I am a fan. So yeah. Anyway, um, much as I really enjoy the chats, it's almost 6, and I'm gonna need to uh, pop off in a little bit. Any final thoughts, or nah? And do we want to do another 3 chapters for next week? Does that sound good? So I think there's like 17 total. So if we, and most of the chapters are like an hour or under, I think. Yeah, 4, 5, and 6 are like 54, 55, and 47. So, notice any symbolism about the non-roses? Another 3 sounds good. What do you mean the non-roses? So I know there's a bit in there where um upon figuring out that the vines trying to invade the house are roses, Beauty feels bad for using most of the fertilizer on the vegetables that they kind of need to survive and stuff, and whatnot. Which the plants mentioned that are not roses. Ah, right. The only one that I'm remembering, aside from like the carrots and other veggies and stuff, was larkspur. I know there were other ones, but yeah, yeah, okay. I need to essentially. I think I need to go back and re-listen to some of it because I was driving for most of chapter 1. It is interesting though that the plants that they interact with after coming to Longchamps are associated with like love and like care. And if symbolism and like foreshadowing and everything is as strong with the rest of it as I'm thinking it is, the ones they interact with in the city are probably associated with like wealth and power or fame or just like surface level what have you. But like I just looked up larkspur and it's a really strong love type association. And one of the sisters, think it's I think it's Lionheart. No, maybe? Can't remember exactly. Made up some chamomile tea for Beauty that first night that they found out she had like chronic um, nightmares. And right now it's associated with relaxation and rest, but however, the flowers are also used to signify the energy and adversity in the late 19th century. This means that chamomile tea was drunk in the morning by people who were getting ready to face the day. So, yeah. Interesting times and stuff. Interesting things with whatnot. Yeah. So there's that. Energy and adversity. How interesting. Exactly. Oh yeah. Also, heads up, for next semester we're probably going to need to change the time and or date of stream time because class schedules and all of that. Just letting you know. And yeah, with that, much as it's a super awesome, tastic, fun time to have a chat and hang out on stream, I'm gonna have to let you go, and we will talk at a later point. The Plants and Pop Culture episodes are still coming. It's mostly edited now, but because my computer is what it is, and as much as I love Tal, dude kicked the stream off today, and that's like OBS and one web page is literally all that's open right now. So that's the level that we're working on. Tal doesn't really appreciate editing, so I have to do stuff on campus at the moment. We'll see. Thanks for the heads up. We'll let you go. Have a good class. Hugs. All of the hugs. Come on. Let me type. There we go. Maybe. I am trying to send a thing. There we go. Alright. So there's that. Yeah. So I'm gonna get last week's book club stream up probably tomorrow. This one should be out by Sunday or something. And the other ones will be filtering in as I can get them edited, essentially. So, yeah. The next seasonal specific pop culture episode that I'm doing is like the Christmas special supernatural episode. So if there's anything that's like autumn or winter or anything else that you want to see an analysis of, let me know, and I'll add that to the roster. Because right now, I'm not entirely sure what, aside from the one that I'm working on now, to do for that. And the previous one that needs an edit. Anyway, that is all for now, and we'll see you all later. Have a fabulous rest of your day. Yeah, no, that's it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, remember that info and whatnots and links and things are all in the description down below. And if you want to see this live, or rather, the next recording of a book club stream live, it's, I was gonna say YouTube, and it's never YouTube. No, Twitch. There we go. Twitch.tv/adventuring, and you'll find the thing. Anyway, that is it for now. Have a fabulous day. Bye, everybody. Alright.